Good morning, guys. My name is Anna Anders. I'm one of the founders of forglobalpeace.com. It's a peace flag initiative company, humbly and trudgingly. I just want to say thank you for this video this morning, and I wanted to give a shout out. A shout out to Hollyweird for the Golden Globe comments that were made. I want to give a shout out to Hollyweird, and from Hollyweird to New York, and from New York on to, well, let's include Disneyland and Disney World too. California, Southern California, Santa Ana, and Florida, okay? So, but also beyond the United States, I want to give a shout out to corrupt Israel too. Because Israel owns all of Hollyweird, okay? Israel owns all of the publishing companies, magazines, books, you name it. It's just a global domination of it all. And Main Street media too. They're really good at hiding things and tucking things away. And yes, Israel is just a base, a military base for all those oil pipelines in the Middle East. So, and if you don't know that today, that's because you're not doing your politics or your homework, if you will. Yeah, so that's what all these wars in the Middle East have been for. They've been for the establishment of corrupt Israel since Pope John Paul II, with Jerzy Kluger and Pope John Paul II being best friends, if you will. And they had to poison Pope John Paul I because he wasn't going to go with the non-profit. He wasn't going to go with the for-profit banking status for the corrupt Catholic Church. So they had to get rid of him. So, and then when they did, then that's when the Catholic Church, the diocese, switched over from non-profit banking status to for-profit banking status with Chase Manhattan Bank. Chase Manhattan Bank, if you take the logo, the octagon logo that they have, the blue logo, and if I was to lay the Israeli flag down on my floor today, I could take that Chase logo and it would fit directly inside the Star of David. So Chase always seems to tell on themselves, and they love the name Chase because they're chasing after everybody's money, okay? And that's what I figured out the other day. I'm humbly Anna Anders, like I said, one of the founders of forglobalpeace.com. What I also want to say, I just want to give a shout out, okay? Here's my shout out. Why is it, first of all, let's go back to this. So people from Hollywood, or Hollyweird, like I like to call it, what do? They act. So actors act, and that's what they get paid for doing, you know? And so when they have these little pageantry events on stage, the Golden Globe Awards or the whatever they got, it's a pageantry. It's a, you know, they're up there and they're acting, okay? Because, and here's my reaction or response to them acting is this. Okay, Meryl Streep, this is a shout out to you, honey. So what I want to say, Anna Anders wants to give a shout out to Meryl Streep. So my shout out is this. Meryl Streep, what did you have to say about the events of 9/11? What do you have to say about the events of 9/11, World Trade Center, North Tower, South Tower, less than 11 seconds? What do you have to say about WTC-7 that went and imploded on itself at 5:20 p.m. all by itself? Meryl Streep, what do you have to say about that? What do you have to say, Meryl Streep, about July 24, 2001, when David Rockefeller let the lease go on the World Trade Center complex, 99.9-year lease, to Larry Silverstein, Lucky Larry they call him. They gave him a nickname, okay? He's so lucky because he was smart enough to put insurance policy on the World Trade Center complex. Yeah, and who gave him that insurance package with that lease? Man, a man by the name of Marvin Bush. Marvin Bush from Texas. Yeah, George Bush Jr.'s brother. Okay? So, George Bush Jr. who stole the elections out of Florida. See, these guys, these actors, okay, the real actors, and I'm not talking about you actors from Hollyweird. I'm talking about the real actors from God, I just don't want to say the word, but it's ZOG. Zionist occupied government here. The owners, the occupiers, politically infiltrated, okay, since the establishment of Israel, okay? So yeah, Pope John Paul II all the way forward to 2017. I'm humbly Anna Anders here on the YouTube channel. What I want to challenge Hollyweird actors and actresses is to start speaking about the events of 9/11. Because you go to New York, you're acting in New York too. So, and 9/11/01 happened in New York, honey, where my grandmother was from, 97th and Park Avenue, her whole life. My daddy came from New York City. See, so this is a family situation for myself too. And a family experiencing, it was just magnified, okay, like a magnifying glass, magnified that much more when I happened to be on corrupt warmongering Flagstaff, Arizona, when these, the PNAC gang thugs, bankster thugs, were pulling off 9/11. PNAC, Project for New American Century. If you don't know that, people, Google and YouTube it. So yeah, Meryl Streep, why aren't you talking about all this stuff? You know, why aren't you guys really talking, ladies talking, and gentlemen, talking about all this stuff? The exploitation and the desecration of the Iraqis, of the Palestinians, of the Syrians in Aleppo, and all the surrounding countries there. Because it all ties into the pipelines, baby. I wished I could do a trip to the Middle East because I would go and see for myself, but I already know what it is. So yes, Israel is a forward military base for those pipelines. And we did Israel's dirty work militarily speaking. For not only Israel, in Israel basically is the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, the corrupt Queen of England, the Pope, the Catholic Church that's involved, and all these big ballers, the globalist 1% parasitical elite. I'm humbly Anna Anders here on this YouTube channel, and I'm trying not to skip a beat this morning, but you know, I might be off a little bit with what I'm trying to say here. So this No Dapple movement, it's kind of what I want to say. Dear Lord, sacred creator of all, help me to be very kind. What I want to say about the No Dapple movement is a purple mafia, Illuminati, oh God, I can't find the word. It's a stage pageantry event, kind of like the Golden Globe Awards. Only thing is they use an actress, I don't know what her name was, but they used an actress to kind of spin it off, you know. And then they had a stand down like they did on 9/11, a stand down in the media to say that the media won't touch it. It ain't that the media won't touch it, baby. This is a bait and switch political game. They do this stuff all the time, kind of like what Hollyweird is doing. So they'll scratch the surface a little bit and talk about Trump a little bit. You know, they'll scratch the political surface, but they ain't going to go deep now. They ain't going to get into the real events of 9/11/01. They ain't going to get into how no plane was found at the Pentagon. They're not going to get into none of that stuff. Why? Why not? Let's talk about that hole in the Pentagon. It was equal in circumference, okay? That hole didn't have any room for the wings for the plane. There was no plane parts found at the Pentagon. And why can't we Americans see the film, since we're talking about Hollyweird, why can't we see the footage? All the footage, because that's the most secure spot on the planet, pretty much it's supposed to be, the Pentagon, okay? So yeah, we've been hoodwinked, people. I'm not buying into it. And so Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, all the actors and actresses, let's sit down and have a conversation about JFK from Texas, Dallas, Texas, and what happened to him, assassinated, okay? Let's sit down and talk about that. Then let's jump from that to MLK, okay? Because we know the trigger man for JFK has blood, MLK blood on his hands too, and I know it. I'm going to stand in that belief internally, intuitively, until the day that I die. You ain't going to yank that shit from me. That's spiritual mojo. Hollyweird does not have enough power to do that today for this lady. So my answer is no on that one. But what I want to talk about too, then, let's examine and put JFK Jr.'s tragic life accident under a microscope. Let's look at that more publicly. Let's put that in the limelight of, instead of putting out all these smut magazines. And I call them smut magazines, even Sports Illustrated. Has anybody seen the pictures of our little swimmer, all those golden medals? I'm glad we're winning medals. That's awesome, United States. But does he really have to stand out in a bathing suit that is so disgustingly showing his body parts, his groin area? It's like, what's all that about? You know what that's about? That's about the perverted propaganda that our nation spews out to mind indoctrinate the social tearing apart of the fabric of our daily lives. Okay, no moral values, none. Because if we had any, dude would have his swimming trunks up on his hips a little bit more. So I'm disgusted with the way that we perpetuate pervertedness in our society and exploit men and women too. It's disgusting to me. I'm humbly Anna Anders on this YouTube channel. What else do I want to say? Yeah, let's not exploit people. Let's not exploit people, desecrate them, murder them, cause mayhem in their life and dislocation, like as in Iraq and as in Aleppo. Let's not do all that. Let's just tell the truth. Like, hey guys, we got to build some oil pipelines. Maybe we can build them above or below or something. But, we got to do this. So, just tell the truth, people. And then then you could save all the acting. Then you can save all the acting politically and entirely, and then we can get on with real acting and see some real talent. How's that? That's what I want to say. I'm disgusted with the way our nation has done. And if you're not disgusted, that's because you are contributing to the political pollution, not just on the surface. Don't scratch the surface, baby, Meryl Streep. Let's get deep. Let's dive deep. Because where we're at today, it's really deep. It's really deep how the poor people are being exploited because the rich have been anointed with their money. And so they decided to move the economy offshore, out of the United States here. And so now the burden of proof is being put upon the poor people to come up with their own health insurance plans. Here's what I got for you, corrupt Wall Street. This. Take this from Grandma Anna and then some of this, okay? We should not be lying to the people. We, the people, see? We, the poor people, okay? Don't lie to people. Don't exploit them. Don't desecrate them. Because you want to be at the top and act like you got it like that. You don't have it like that.